given what we know so far? What do you guys feel like?
I think for the presentation, we need to have a restaurant in mind. Like we need to have a list of restaurants who are willing to work with us first before anything.
Yeah.
Because you can't get any money to do anything with the restaurants if they don't know which restaurants you're working with. So that's probably a first for anything.
Yep. I made a friend when I was in New York City last week. He's the owner of this place called Bispas Mediterranean Grill. This was in Williamsburg. He has 2 restaurants, and then there's another Mediterranean restaurant on West 4th, who I met the owner and his assistant. So we have at least 3. There's Vanessa's Dumplings in Williamsburg as well, and I know the manager there. She often gives us leftover food. She's done it before. I know the owner of Tony's Pizzeria. So absolutely, Kyle. Yeah, absolutely. I guess a thing that I need to do then is to give you this information, right? Right, yeah. List the restaurants and managers. Thanks, Kyle. Yep. List the restaurants and managers who I have made contact with. And then what do you guys feel like would be the next thing once we have them as a yes, right? Meaning I feel like something in the blueprint that I wrote was, there were multiple questions for them. The first one was like, do you agree to be part of this pilot program, right? Call it that, if anything, where they agree to give us all of the inventory in exchange for 6 months worth of organic alternatives.
I think I actually had our questions. I can just put it in the chat.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. I wonder, right, if there's a way to, I always imagine whenever we're doing this to have an iPad that we go to the restaurants. Because when I was working in the restaurant, there was someone from Grubhub that came through and she had like the flyer, she had the sticky things basically saying that this restaurant, I was working at Basanova Ramen, and she was basically saying like, this is a restaurant that will use our services. And it was a sticker out on the outside so the people who were collecting the food could see it. And it was a couple of things that popped up on the register and stuff. So that's sort of like how I'm imagining this. Whereas funding, the idea for funding is coming from the real estate brokerage. The connection between this is when the brokerages agree to give us 25%, and the numbers matter in numerology for a reason that I will be able to speak into at a later point in time. 25% of a donation base, I suppose, of their profits will allow their agents to eat at these restaurants for a discounted price, for instance. And that's how we're gonna like refunnel the funding from a platform that has a lot of income coming in, right? Do you guys see what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's an idea of where the funding could come from. Okay, so list of restaurants and managers who I've made contact with. And we're essentially asking them if they would be down to be part of this pilot program. There's this thing called RICE method, RICE. I forget what the procedure is, but that's essentially going into these places and running the beta version of this initiative. Sweet. Okay, then bye, baby. Then what?
Well, on that note, then the real estate agents, do we have that already set up, or is that something we need to get done?
We need to get done. I have connections with I want to say 3 different brokerages. Right. I mean, yeah. Real estate agencies. Yeah. Also, another thing we need to do is get the exact amount of, well, we have one partner called Good Start Packaging. His name is Daniel. And we've been working with him. I've been working with him for the last couple of months. He sends, he can send us samples. And I've got a bunch of samples in my van with, yeah. So we need to, man, I really wish I was in New York City, but I don't know if this is something that you guys want to take on, or if there's something that I need to do in terms of like calling these restaurants or calling my friends and asking them to sit down with me and be like, how much do you guys actually spend a month on these things, and then find the alternative material and figure out how much that's going to cost them. And then that's the only way we can go from there. If we don't have any like real numbers, then it's really difficult to like, move in that space. Yeah. All right, what's next? So first, let me stop this. Spend on the, it's like super resistant. Okay, real estate agencies to be part of this. Does that make sense though, you guys? Like asking these real estate agencies to essentially do an exchange initiative, right? I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to speak to Shauna. Like I'm gonna have to speak to Shauna. Okay. Shauna is the brokerage of the last real estate company that I was working with. Okay. Caroline, do you have any ideas or stuff that's moving around in your mind?
No, I was just like kind of confused in the question as well, like what the focus was. Because I know we have like a lot going on, like with plastic, but then we also have like homelessness, and then you also like food security there. And I think you also have like domestic violence in some cases.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I hear what you're saying, and this is a lot of the challenge of like being able to communicate these ideas to people who like see these things as like seemingly separate ideas, but they're all sort of like energetically connected to each other, right? So when we talk about ending homelessness, to Kyle's question about healing hubs, that's really where we're going to be moving into the next place. Think of it as like an energetic understanding, right? Like we know that making plastic is bad, right? But people still continue to do it. We know that homelessness is unnecessary, but yet it still continues to exist. So when we use the material of plastic, sort of like unhinge that energy, then these other things will start to unravel. And there's no scientific or logical way to prove these things, which is unfortunately a lot of how our rational minds have been programmed and conditioned to think, oh, if there's no data on this, if there's no real tangible thing, then like, how do we believe it's true? It's like, well, we open our fucking eyes and like, we're alive, right? Like, how the fuck did that happen? You know what I'm saying? Sort of like thinking outside of like our rational minds and like understanding that this is an energy thing that we're working with. This is not so much of a social, sociology theory-based thing. Like this is an energetic understanding. So that's how I can answer that question. Also, Caroline, once we move into a space where we have our own physical location, then we are able to more, wow, you guys are such assholes. Not you guys at all. No, not you guys. I'm talking to like this other like energy that's been like fucking with me all day today. And it's like really, really intense. It like doesn't want us to do this work, and it's just like fucking with me. So once we have a physical space, which is when the crowdfunding comes in, then we're able to have our machines, then we're able to have our team, then we're able to go out into New York City and actually like pick up the homeless. You know what I'm saying? Like then we're able to do that. But if you don't have a physical home base, it's really difficult for us to do this. So we have to like work in sort of like segments.
okay, so what I understand is like the focus right now, I guess, is like focusing on having restaurants try to be interested in what you're doing, or like to like remove plastic from their restaurants first,
Right.
and then you're going to get like a real estate place as well, like to just start a starting place to stay,
right,
in order for you to
right,
begin all these things. Okay.
right. The first thing the first thing that we need to do is have the restaurants even be able to sit down with us and like walk us through their inventory and be like, we spend $1,500 a month on lids, for example. Like we need these numbers before we can even like make, you know what I'm saying? It's like a logical comparison, or like, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't know how much we need. We have no idea how much money we actually need. Yeah. And all we need is like 1 to 3 restaurants to be part of the pilot program and see like, or even just one restaurant really, and be like, can we work with you guys? You know?
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
So what we have so far right now is we have the restaurants, we have a supplier for the plastic packaging for restaurants. What we need is the money to buy those things.
Right. That's where the real estate component comes in. But without so Kyle, for example, right, let's say you are the restaurant owner, right? Without me knowing how much you spend a month, how am I going to go to Caroline, who's the broker, and be like, hey, Caroline, I need 45, that it doesn't make any sense. Like I need, if you give me, Hannah, I spend $30,000 a year on plastic. Then I can go to Good Start Packaging, which is the alternative packaging. It's going to be way more expensive because I already did this math, right? It's going to be like 3 times the amount. So if you spend 30, what was the number I give you? 30,000 on packaging, it's going to be 90,000 maybe, right? To like have the same amount of inventory. So then, but without the data, but without your number, I cannot, like 90,000 doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Then I cannot go to Caroline and be like, hey, Caroline, I need 90,000. If I just make up a number in my mind, I'm like, Caroline, I need 45, but it's not going to be enough, then there's no point to like ensure you have 6 months worth of inventory. Does that make sense, Kyle?
Yeah. But if we want to achieve this with a smaller amount of money, we don't necessarily need to buy out 6 months of inventory for them.
Also true. Yeah, we could do a smaller amount, right?
A smaller amount spread across more restaurants, it will be more effective in convincing a business that they should give up a part of their funds, you know, because for the business, their funds, they're spending this money. I mean, it's for both the cause, but also because they're getting a benefit out of this. If it's only at one restaurant and that restaurant's not that near the office, it makes less and less sense for them to be the ones, that brokerage firm for real estate, to give you this money.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, I'm using real estate as, and that was the first thing that came to my mind when I was like, where is this money going to come from? Realistically, right? We're talking about also monetary redistribution of wealth, right? Like there's a lot, like, you know, an agent can make $74,000 in a day, Kyle. Like I've seen that happen. They close the deal with, you know what I'm saying? Like they have a lot of money floating around. So I hear what you're saying 100%. And it's ironic too that we're using a Mediterranean restaurant because the broker that I was working with is Israeli and he loves Mediterranean food. But yeah, it's definitely going to be like, and again, I'm going to have to probably speak with Shauna. Shauna was the broker that hired me, and I will probably have to sit in. Maybe she's one of the people that comes to our meetings, you know, and like, it's like how, because I can see them being like, how are we involved in this? Like, no, like we can, like, we're rich enough to buy a full meal. Like we don't need a discount on anything. You know what I'm saying?
In terms of the packaging companies, I also found alternatives to Good Start if you want to price compare between them for certain products. I also found a manufacturer for the products themselves, not just a retailer, like an online retailer like Good Start. So that's that. In terms of how we convince a real estate firm, maybe we can get the real estate firms. How do I say this? Can we just silk screen their logo on the packaging on the bottom? Like, because marketing is marketing at the end of the day. For a lawyer, depending on what kind of law they practice, it might make sense for them to do this on a purely just advertising standpoint.
Mm. I see what you're saying. That's genius. Yeah. I see what you're saying. We're still going to need
Like,
funding. Yeah. To get
if
the,
they represent like environmental causes, there are law firms that do corporate law, and as pro bono, they represent all these different kinds of environmental cases. Saying they represent environmental cases on the bottom is the whole reason why they represent environmental cases, to tell people they care. So likewise, making a contribution for this, it makes more fiscal sense for them.
okay, so you're thinking about law firms then, yeah.
But also, I only came up with that because one of the manufacturers for the fiber made like containers for food, the same same manufacturers that are supplying Good Start, that's something they can do. They can emboss logos into the fiber.
Yep. Smart. Yeah. To cut out the middleman. Yeah. Yep. I mean, then we're looking at becoming distributors of that material ourselves, right? And then we can like draw from different manufacturing companies and being like, we want this, because Good Start, even though they're, they're called Good Start, it's funny. Like then they were talking about this, is like, PLA plastic, we're still, we're trying our best. And I'm like, Daniel, the whole point of creating a company like Good Start is to avoid plastics completely. Like if you're still going to give out by, it's just like whatever. So that's why I specifically chose only fiber organic material.
Yeah, PLA is actually the material you use in 3D printing. I have something that's 3D printed somewhere. But basically, if you've ever held something that's PLA, it's basically plastic.
Right, exactly. But
it even has fumes. One of the concerns with 3D printing is that because it's so much like plastic, when you heat it up, you actually can't inhale. Whatever comes out of it is toxic to inhale too much of it. You need to do it well ventilated.
Fucking boomers. Holy shit.
So PLA, like I saw Good Start's packaging, and then I was like, PLA is the thing they use in like 3D printing filament. Yeah. Like that's the material itself. So I was like, this can't be compostable, but it's sort of compostable. You have to have a high enough temperature and like a significant amount of light exposure, which means for most compost piles, it makes no sense how you're going to compost this. You need a high heat and a high amount of light,
right?
Which you can't just throw it into your pile of dirt. That's just not an option.
Correct. And even if they can biodegrade, it's microplastics. Like that's it's completely the same thing.
Jeez. I mean, it is made out of corn. I don't think it produces microplastic. Inconvenient way to compost something. It might as well be plastic, because if it gets thrown out in the landfill, it will end up 3 feet in the ground and it won't get any light and it won't decompose for 100 years or so.
Right.
So it really makes no difference.
Correct. Thank you for saying that and saying that as well. Because to them, it's like, oh, it's only, 100 years compared to 500. It's like, that's literally how they're seeing this stuff. Because their avoidance, that generation is avoidance. They don't want to get to the root cause. And I'm seeing this in a familial way as well, and like a personal, like it's all a reflection of everything. So we also have to like maneuver in a way where like we're able to say that in these meetings and make this very clear to council people that even though something is biodegradable, it's not actually biodegradable. So we have to make that very clear, because these council people, they just want to have a convenient, and I don't want to project or anything like that, but like it seems that way. If not, they would actually care, and they would actually get to the root cause of these things and actually cure it from the root.
I mean, irrespective of that, I do understand why as a company their product exists, because you're still making something out of corn, which I would argue is better off than making something out of oil.
I feel like there's more research that needs to go into the actual manufacturing of these things and the process of converting the corn into the thing. It's almost
I just can't see how it's worse than making something out of oil. You're still shipping it, you're still making it, you still have to clean it. One is made out of oil and the other is made out of corn. I can't imagine the process to turn corn into that is significantly more difficult than making oil into plastic.
Well, from my understanding, the PLA is a combination of plastic and corn. It's not only just corn. They put corn elements in it to help it biodegrade a little bit faster. But at the end of the day, it's still plastic.
I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure corn, it's made out of the starch. It's completely made out of corn, I don't think.
Let's look it up.
Yeah, it's made out of fermented plant starch. So it doesn't actually have to be made from corn, but corn is just the cheapest thing in America that has starch in it that you can turn into this.
So then here I can PLA plastic made from corn.
It's still not really biodegradable, but I'm just saying like the impact of it going into a landfill versus plastic cups made from oil going into a landfill, like it still has less impact because of what you had to do to make it into PLA.
Right. Okay, so according to the biodegradability standard at Mojo, fewer than 90 days.
In a controlled composting environment, you have to put it in a big vat with light and heat for 90 days, which is not reasonable for someone taking it into a restaurant, using it, and then putting it there. What is the restaurant supposed to do with this PLA cup? You have to find someone to compost it, but it's not like you could just bring it to a conventional local composting center. They're not going to compost PLA for you.
Right. So yeah, so let's focus, I guess, on getting in fiber. And then I guess we'll have to do a little bit of research into the fiber alternatives, because then it's like, what's the breakdown duration of that? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean that they don't make any new polymers. There's no chemical changes happening to the structure of the plant. I'm pretty sure it's just fibers that they heat up and mesh into a certain shape.
All right, so let's do some actual research, yeah? Let's do some hard research on that, so we know for sure when we go into these meetings. So process of creating fiber organic alternatives. Yeah. Kyle, do you feel like you can take on that research question?
Yeah, I'll get to it.
Thank you. What is the process of creating fiber? Sweet. And then also another thing, and maybe this is a question you can think about when we get to that point, but to think of it now, when they package it, right? Like they often come in plastic bags. So I'm wondering if we could even like introduce, this is like something to like have in our minds, right? Like when they compress all the things and they want to ship it out, like what that process of shipping is, if it's still involving plastic, like make it as plastic free as possible for the whole process. Packaging process alternatives. Yeah. Okay. Yo, but Kyle, this was great. This thingy, this list, strategies for eliminating plastic waste. Right. So number one, right? Like, and this entire plan will be a lot, I feel, a lot better and a lot more smoother when we have the backing of the council members, when they understand what we're doing. And they even implement a ban in New York City where it's like, yeah, sorry, restaurants, like you guys are going to have to not use the plastic contracts anymore.
There is an odd legal issue to this though. Currently, I read basically in the like restaurant health codes, there was a related article that said, you in the event someone requests a non-compostable plastic straw, you must provide them one because under New York City's like human rights laws, it's considered a reasonable accommodation. So if you're a restaurant and you have to have plastic straws on hand, like you're not allowed to just have them laying out. But if someone asks you for it, you have to give it to them. Then by that means you pretty much either just ignore this rule or you buy two types of straws or you just buy plastic straws and ignore the rule about not having them lay around.
Yeah, we're
So
gonna
I assume
ignore
if it's
it.
a reasonable accommodation to get plastic straws, then if businesses start to slowly get rid of all the plastic products, I wouldn't be surprised if they make it a rule too that it's a reasonable accommodation to get another plastic container for whatnot.
Right. Okay, so let's bring this point up in the meeting with the council members and see if we can change that law.
I don't think it's a law. I think it's an interpretation of reasonable accommodation. But right now, the interpretation is if they ask you for a plastic straw, you have to provide it to them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can get a fine for it if they report you for, violating that.
Right. Yeah, that's a the word Karen wants to come out. That's like a Karen request. So let's bring that up, Kyle, in the meeting. Let's make a point of that right now, please, to bring that up in the meeting so that when we are discussing this, please mention that to the council members and see if we can eliminate that rule as it pertains to human rights. It's so funny. Public health. Again, with an understanding that the plastic situation, specifically in New York City, needs to be, what's the word, you guys? What's the correct word here that will fit? Not eliminated, but it needs to have more attention to, it needs to be addressed, it needs to be changed, it needs to be transformed. Right, and an alternative is we can sell metal straws on site for these restaurants, and that's another partnership that we can develop down the road. That's excellent, Kyle. Thank you for looking into that. Okay. Yeah, halt all imports of current inventory of single-use plastics. Yeah, I feel like that goes into the
First
blueprint as
one.
well. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, you have to yeah later on. Maybe we can like group these into like council meeting agenda items, and then we can group them into like healing hub agenda items.
There wasn't really an order to what I wrote things or why I wrote things. I just read through the blueprints 25 pages, and whenever I got to a new idea, I wrote it down and then deleted it off of it
Awesome.
and worked the way through the bottom.
Thank you. Did you and Caroline work on this together?
I did this morning.
Okay.
I took a look at it though, and I think I added some of the ideas into like a document I have for like just to like list out, I guess, what I would write on Miro. So I'd have a section for plastics and I would list out like the strategies or the steps to get to this goal of like eliminating plastics.
You have a document that you made, you said, Caroline?
Yeah, I do. I can share it with you.
Sure. I'm sharing.
It's honestly basically a reorganization, more like it, but some like key ideas I found in your blueprint as well.
Wait, sorry, say that again, Caroline?
I just took like some key ideas I found in my blueprint as well.
Okay. You like reorganized it looks like, right? Yeah. This is great, yeah. Yeah. Mm. Okay, so it feels like there are some repeats on Kyle's document and your document. Guys, could you please come together and pick one of the documents, or maybe make a separate third document and draw from both of these and sort of like consolidate these ideas a little bit more? So from Kyle, so for example, so from Kyle's list here, right? Like I love this. I would love to be able to keep this format, the what do you call this thing? Like an Excel, mini Excel, but then group it according to like steps to take. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Does that make sense, Kyle? You can see your faces. Let me see your faces. Yeah? Okay. Sweet. So let's see, today's Friday. How many more hours do you guys have left for this week?
I'm
5.
capped out.
Yeah,
I
okay.
have 4.
You have 4 more hours? Okay. Caroline. Mm. Hmm. Okay, well, in that case, since Kyle's done with this week, Monday we're meeting again at 11 with Emma this time. And
Is that 11 a.m. our time or your time?
your time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had a brain fart today. I was like, yeah, 4 p.m. and I didn't, yeah. I changed the dates for the workshop to start on the 8th of August so that I have 18 or 16 days to fill out the spots with clients, with participants, with students. And then since we have Gary, Susan, and Ben, we're probably going to start with Ben first, and then Susan, and then Gary. So we have 3 weeks of guest artists coming in to conduct those.
Earlier in the program, you sent out an email, like a meeting with Gary. Are we still doing that?
Yeah, well, that's him coming in to teach with us. So he's going to
Okay,
be
so that's like a workshop.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's gonna be moved to like, because I think it was supposed to be like 27.
Right, right. Yeah, he said just let him know. So I'm gonna have him be, because right, ideally, and I also emailed Mayday Space that Kyle found, and I told them, I gave them 2 dates. I said either August 26th or August 29th. August 29th would be a titties event. I mean, if you can combine both of them into the same day, that would be great. But if not, then we'll have one specifically for August 26th, which will be the day that we would probably be giving council members as well to join us for the presentation. Are you guys able to be physically there on the 26th of August?
26th of August, I start school.
I might be going somewhere. That's the end of August. I might be like at a something. I think I have a family event towards the end of August. I don't remember when.
Okay, well, the 26th is the last day of the SYEP internship for you and Emma, because Caroline started a week before, I'm pretty sure. Unless I'm tripping balls, right?
My event might be after that. I know it's the end of August.
Wait,
Right.
is this 6 weeks? I think I might end on the 15th actually.
Yeah, because Caroline, because you started a week before Kyle and Emma. Yeah.
Okay.
But even saying on the lines of Mayday, there's also another space in the event Mayday doesn't work out in Bushwick by the sustainable urban neighborhoods. I did a hackathon at one of their space. So I guess you could say I know them.
Word,
I
yeah.
met the guy.
Yeah, please, Kyle, if you could send us an email with that contact information, or
Yeah, I already have it on the list. I haven't gotten around to contacting him.
okay. When you say the list, which,
the list of people. It's just titled The List of People.
okay. Okay. Let me write notes for us to work on for the weekend. All right, so let's see here. This is, holy cow, 7:22. Wow, miss. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. Here, the weekend to-do list. All right, so Kyle and Emma, let me know, what do you guys need from me?
Emma's not here.
I'm sorry, Caroline. What am I working on this weekend to give you information on? Let's see.
Yeah, they do. They're a local non-for-profit in Bushwick, and they do food donations. Like they work together to get food around to different neighborhoods, and they have like a whole art thing. Like they have an art studio as a space.
Hmm.
So I've been there. It's fine.
Okay. Would you want to email them, Kyle, and CC me on that email since you know the people there?
Yeah,
Cool. Cool.
I'll get to that.
All
But
right.
in terms of questions I have for you, did
Yeah.
you ever end up submitting that paperwork to Dylan, the one about the referral sheet that you had
I
to
did.
sign?
Yeah. I did.
Okay, so that's good. And the content for the website, you there yet? Or
I'm not there yet. No,
all right.
absolutely not. So, okay, can you maybe speak into why you feel like it's a better idea to not have a website for the blueprint and only like a page?
I mean, for one, SEO. When people search your name, I mean, you're basically associated with this. You have two separate sites. It's just more work to maintain, and just like it's just a page, really. So it
Okay.
doesn't make sense to make another website with just one page.
Okay. I trust you. Yeah. All right. So go into I need the Cosmic Kitty information for the website. Kyle, please check and see if you're available on the 26th, and then Caroline will probably Zoom you in or FaceTime you in or something.
I'll go check.
Thanks, Kyle. Or Caroline, if you want to like.
Yeah, just give me a time. I don't know. My schedule, I think, is pretty heavy.
Okay. Social media, you guys. I don't know if Caroline, would you, or Kyle, if you guys want to take on social media, or for the Liberatory Learners Instagram page, to basically write whatever you guys create. I want to put that on to the Instagram page and get over my issues with social media as it pertains to building out the business. Because this video, for instance, I would send to Emma, and then Emma will edit it down and then highlight the sections, or I'll upload this entire video on our YouTube page, which we just recently made. And that way it's online for people to watch and listen to and have access to the information. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, Carl, I'm going to put your app creation on the Instagram page, and the other thing that you made, I have to go see. But I really want to like create a flow. So whatever we create, it goes up on social media and it gets shared.
Yeah, for the app, I spent a couple hours working. Not the barcode thing. The Python bot for Discord. I spent a couple hours. I have a working demo. Next week, I can look into finding a community that might want to take it on. Right now, it's not optimized for more than one server, but for one, it can work for somebody. Test it out. See who wants to try it.
Yeah.
Get some beta on it.
Yeah. Share. What was the other one that you made, Kyle? It was not the app, but the.
I mean, I've only worked on 3 things. The Discord bot, I made a wireframe for that barcode idea that I'm not really so sure about doing, and the website, your website.
Yeah, the wireframe app idea, I hear what you're saying. I mean, if anything, right, your app skills would come more in use for one of the, for like the blueprint, I feel, where like a company can like essentially download our app and then be like, yes, we want to participate in your program or your initiative, come take out plastic, set up a time to pick it up, and then they can pick like, oh, we need lids, straws, bowls, cups, whatever it is, and then that goes into a thing, and then we get the data, and then we outsource that for them. A delivery happens, and then we make that point of transaction. We take their plastic, we give it to Precious Plastics, we sell it, the pellets, etc. We make things with it.
And that funds the healing hub.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's more doable of an app. Yeah, that's something we can make.
Okay.
The Discord bot we can finish up quickly and just throw it in.
Yeah. I mean, or we could also like hone in on the bot where we are asking people if they even want to participate in this, like to get potential students for our classes and workshops, and then
That
also
too.
Yeah.
Because I would need more development time to get it to work on more than one server. Right now, it doesn't differentiate. Like, it takes on data. It doesn't know which person at a time. That's what it is. It's not scaled right now.
I don't really understand.
Because you are talking to the bot and the bot is talking to you. I haven't set up a database system, so it can't. It can only store one person's answers at a time.
Let's see. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, number 15, create mobile and web apps to facilitate these processes. Exactly. Sweet. So I guess on my end, I'm gonna have to call my buddies in these restaurants and have them be part of the meeting. I'm gonna write that down. Call. Look at his name. No, that was someone else. Call restaurants in New York City. Met last week to ask them to be part of pilot program of exchange, right? Part of packaging pilot program. All right, and then you guys are going to work together to consolidate Kyle's version of the blueprint and Caroline's version of the consolidated version of the blueprint that I sent you guys. And then is that something that you guys can work on Monday, maybe before we meet?
Yeah, that works for me.
Caroline, does that work with you?
I can set up a time with him. I don't know.
Okay. Have you
I
guys,
work from 7 to 12 on Monday, so it doesn't matter. I'll be awake.
Okay.
I could do 7 maybe. 7 to 9 maybe. I don't know.
No, I'm just saying any time from that. Basically, the whole morning I'm on, so it's fine.
Right, and then we meet at 11 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm on between the hours of that meeting and basically when any reasonable person will be awake. So yeah.
All right. Cool. Is there anything else, you guys?
No.
No. Yeah, we have a good amount of work to get done, from me at least, for the weekend. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I don't have anything else for class next week. Or are we doing that actually? No, let's do that. Have a t-shirt and a pair of scissors ready for next week. A t-shirt that you don't use anymore. 这不可以. Kyle, do you freeze? Are you frozen? I'm freezing.
I am frozen.
Uh-oh.
It's bugged out. It's fine.
You're so excited about making a tote bag, right, Kyle?
I actually have a shirt just for it. I got a free shirt from a hackathon. I think I'm frozen, so you can't even see, but I have this gigantic free shirt from a hackathon that they glued a giant piece of vinyl to the back to list out all of their sponsors. So wearing it is like wearing a giant piece of like plastic on the back of your back.
Oh my God.
So it's a horrible t-shirt, but it will make a fine tote bag.
You guys crack me up. This is great. Thanks, Kyle. Oh, you guys. I'm so grateful for you. You have no idea. Seriously, like I've been working on this for like by myself, like these ideas, for like 5 years. And it like I literally like when I read Kyle's email, I just made a TikTok about this. When I read Kyle's email, I like started crying because I was like so overwhelmed. I was like, like your question, like what do we do first? I was like, yeah, holy shit, like what do we do first? And I literally had to go grab my Bible and like pray. And the Bible verse that opened up, right, you guys, I made a video last night, I made a song last night that said, I don't want to see my ex-boyfriend's name unless it's in the Bible. And I literally flipped open and it was his name in the Bible. And the instruction was from the Bible in, oh, Kyle. I was like, I'm not. Oh my God, is he here still?
I think he crashed.
Wait, he's here. Yeah, he's back. I'm telling you, this energy is insane. Kyle, you there?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna share this really quickly with you guys, okay? This was literally, I literally asked God, I was like, God, what do I do, right? And this was the passage, okay? These are the things you are to do, like guys, word for word from the Bible, okay? Speak the truth to each other and render true and sound judgment in your courts. Do not plot evil against your neighbor and do not love to swear falsely. I hate all this, declares the Lord. It's like, thank you. Jesus, take the wheel. On that note, thank you, and thank you again. And thank you, Tony. And also thank you to my ex-boyfriend, because in a weird way, to give you guys context of this internship and how this came about, was a convincing of partners and him starting a podcast that I encouraged him to do, that I supported him on. And one of the participants in that podcast was Tony's brother. And that's how we got to know Tony. Yeah. Yep. Everything's connected. I love you guys. Thank you, my heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. The future generations, thank you. And the now generations, thank you for your brilliance. All right. Have a wonderful weekend. And I will be here if you need anything. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
See you Monday.
Okay.